All right, here we are, Monday night, Real Talk Weekly. It's me, Badan, and my colleague Josh. We're talking about from inspection to offers, how to secure your dream property. Stay tuned. All right, how are we doing today, Josh?
Good.
Good.
Oh, good night.
Good night. Good
Hello,
night.
everyone. Another session of Real Talk Weekly, and we thought, given the environment at the moment, this is definitely a time to get your buyers ready, because we're probably entering a buyer's market at this stage. So definitely a time for buyers to arm themselves and be ready. Because you might pick yourself up some good deals in the current market, from what we're seeing. But Badan, this is something that you wanted to put together. So do you want to hit us off? Maybe what we'll start off is probably your biggest, my biggest, and then we'll start from beginning to end, guys.
Definitely. Like throughout this last few weeks, I've been seeing like there's lots of buyers coming through, but they're like not sure what they're actually after. So I think literally the first point is finding out your non-negotiables. Simple as that. Because I'll ask, okay, guys, what would you like? I'll fine tune your requirement. And they would say, yes, 1.2 million, any 2-bedroom apartment. Location, Northern Beaches. That's too broad of a requirement for yourself as well to go and inspect every single property. But at the same time, you won't know unless you actually go through it. So I think first thing is having a non-negotiables ready. For myself, I might need a lock-up garage. Like I need walking distance to the beach. Like, what are your non-negotiables? And I don't think you'll find a 10 on 10 property. Then if you do, the pricing won't be right. That's the normal math. I think the biggest thing would be that.
Yeah, wow.
What do you think?
I'd have to say speed being one of my biggest. Being prepared and speed, call to action. What I've generally seen a lot of the time in a couple of deals over the last couple of months is I've had some really keen buyers. They've invested the time, the effort. And when it comes to that conviction and saying, here's the offer, I'm ready to go, 6-week settlement, they've ummed and ahed, and then someone's come over the top and paid a much better price. So I'd probably say the biggest one is speed. And if you do the processes correctly, like Badan said, working with your agent, getting those requirements right, well, generally you'll know it's the right property and you'll make that move because you leave that property on market and it ticks a lot of your boxes. It probably ticks somebody else's boxes. And you leave yourself open there to competition and multiple offers. So I'd probably say speed is the biggest one on my end. And if you like something, it ticks the boxes, it's going to be very hard to find a property out of 10 that you tick every single box. If you're getting 7 and above,
that's the
speed.
property.
Exactly. So those are probably our biggest two for what we're seeing in the market now. But we thought we might start from the beginning now. And did you want to start us off? We'll probably hit that with the right requirements. What would you say the next step is?
I think getting your ducks in a row. Simple as that. Just have a good solicitor, have a good broker. And those two things, as common it may sound, they make or break the deal. Like most of us, like we do both residential and commercial, right? Most of the deals, they happen after hours. Right, we exchange a property on a Saturday. This Saturday. So most of the deals that happen after hours, and if you have a solicitor that does that extra hour, goes that extra mile for you, that's very handy. Because coming up now, Josh's point, speed is everything. If you want someone else, well, if it ticks your boxes, it ticks some other people's boxes as well. So I think having a good solicitor in hand always helps. That know inside and out of a contract what's better for you, that can act on your behalf and deal with the vendors. Solicitor, I think that's one of the main thing. And just getting pre-approved. It's like a credit card. You don't know how much you can actually afford. Like there's no point going out in the market looking at $3 million houses while you're only at a $2 million range. So I think that those two are the main next things that you need to know, because without a credit card, you don't know how much you can shop with.
Definitely, I'd have to double down on Badan's point there of a good solicitor. It changes everything. Not to say that anything bad on solicitors at all, but definitely in terms of the cost that goes to the client, limiting that back and forth. Sometimes you do see points that are pushed that don't need to be pushed. They end up buying the property in the contract as is. So I definitely think doing your shopping like you do for the property you're looking for. Do the same with your solicitor, because you're making one of the biggest purchases in your life, guys. So you want to ensure that someone who's advising you on this knows what they're talking about, has done it before. So really go out there, check with friends and family, check with your real estate agent. They've generally dealt with a couple of local solicitors that have been really good. And I'll tell you what, there is a massive difference. This isn't just about the speed of the transaction itself, but one thing definitely I want to touch on is timing. You'll get some solicitors 5:30 on the dot. You won't hear a peak. And I know we've got a couple of solicitors that I've dealt with where I'm going back and forth on emails 8, 9 p.m. at night. Makes a massive difference. Again, it probably limits that possibility of offer accepted the night before and then all of a sudden another buyer shows up.
Exactly.
Guys, how many times it happens, it is unreal. So I think that's a really, really important point.
Exactly.
The right solicitor when you're buying and selling goes miles. So pretty important point. I'll probably go on to the next one here, guys. Now, there's two ways you can do this. You're either with a real estate agent, they have your requirements, you've got your pre-market opportunities. Generally, you've got your pre-marketed opportunities. It's not online. Not everyone is as savvy. Sorry, guys. Not everyone or every buyer is as savvy to leave their details with a real estate agent. They don't want to be bothered. They don't want to be pestered, but they may miss out on those pre-market opportunities. Now, guys, talking things from a buyer's perspective, those off-market opportunities are generally going to have a less competitive environment. So if an offer that is presented to the landlord and seen as a good offer, there's none of that shopping and waiting for the next Saturday it's open and see how that goes. There's none of that sort of lingo. So pre-market being one. Number two, if you see a lot of the time, I see buyers rock up to opens, but they've never actually inquired through email or through the portals. I would say if there's a property that really ticks your boxes, inquire, whether that be an email inquiry or a phone to the real estate agent themselves. You've got to remember they probably speak to, and I speak to probably hundreds of people a week. Being a top of mind with that agent on that specific listing, having that relationship early on, would then lead to things like private appointments. Guys, on really good properties, look, I've just seen something that I've just listed, had 14 people through on the Saturday. I'm busy taking people's names, opening up garages, asking questions, things like that. I really think a private inspection goes a long mile, because you're spending that half an hour solely with the agent. You're getting all the questions answered that might take time during the week going back and forth. So I'd probably have to say pushing for private inspection. If it's something you like, you get that chance one-on-one with the agent. You get to ask as many questions as you like. And you probably shorten that period of due diligence just from that one action. So that would probably be something that I push, because generally I see myself, I prefer private inspections because I actually get to speak to each buyer in detail, and whether or not that's the property for them, and I get to help them transact faster. What I really get to begin to understand is their personal position, what they require, and refine that. So if I see something on a morning caravan, because we get to see those off-market properties first, following that Monday inspection of the property, I'm sending them videos. So, they're well ahead of the rest of the market, and that's going to be a competitive advantage.
Very true. I can't put this highly enough. You don't have to like the agent. Just make someone a friend while you're looking. I often see people that have been looking for 6 months. They come to an open home, won't even say hello, just look around. It's like giving the agent the cold shoulder. They are the one who will help you, right? And Josh mentioned, if you have a good chat with them, let them know what you're after. Every time we see a property, there'll be a few people that will come to our head straight away. Like, oh, great, Josh came to my open, he'll love this property. It's a perfect townhouse for them. So if you make good friends with the agent, that'll take a long while. And like I mentioned, you don't have to like them. It's only for a period while you're looking for a property. And something that this one particular couple did, which I really liked, because husband and wife, because they're looking at so many properties, what they did, they created a temporary email, right?
Wow, that's a good pick.
Yeah. So they put their first name, let's say, Mr. and Mrs. Homesearch @gmail.com. Created that account, inquired on all the properties, and every time something comes back, they both have access to it. And after they bought the property, they just dissolved that email. Two things, both of them are on the same page. Second thing, you're not getting any spam emails after that.
Yeah, well, I actually really like that.
Right.
I mean, that's something I really like. Yeah.
Like, you have to be organized, like, hands-on and stuff. Be very alert what you want, what you don't want, and make friends with the agent. Follow them on social media. That's where the first thing it gets posted. And with private inspection, can't stress highly enough. Like, us an agent will love to speak to a buyer. And even if the property is not for you, we know what won't work for you. So they can say, oh, I like this, but not that. So we'll have that in the back of our mind. And when that property does come along, you'll be our first call. So
Definitely.
Those things are there. And if you're buying, like, apartment with a strata, they have strata reports. Definitely look into these. These days, there's lots of buildings that will have, remedial work for balconies, fire upgrades, concrete cancer if you're in front of the beach, right? So there's lots of things that you have to look into because the pricing alone won't give you all the information. You need to have a chat with the agent, ask them about the strata, how is the block maintained. Because we see people buy into an apartment and then 3 months down the track, bam, a massive levy comes along and everything's downhill from there.
Yeah, definitely. I want to push on that point. Like, overall, guys, it's all about organization, because what can happen with the right organization and due diligence, that offer, we've got two types of offers, guys. We've got your 5-day cooling off period. Sometimes that is extended, and then we've got our unconditional. Sometimes you might not have the highest offer, but with those terms, vendors put a lot of value on an unconditional offer. So if you might not have the biggest pockets, but if you're the most organized and you've ticked the boxes you need to tick, and you've seen in the market, hey, this is a good property. I think it's well priced at where I'm purchasing it at. It seems to be at market value. Having that ability to go unconditional is a massive tick, and something that us as real estate agents probably push to our vendors. You can have that extra 20, 30, 40 grand, whatever the number may be. It's always going to vary depending on the purchase price. An owner will consider an unconditional sale as good as money in their pockets. So that's another thing, just to tie it all in around the back. Really, it comes down to organization, having the right people, whether it be the real estate agent, the solicitor, etc. But being organized and being in a position to execute that contract is as good as having an extra few dollar figures in that offer price. So that's probably another really big one. And I have to say that I really like your buyer's idea of having that temporary email. It's always a fight with emails and phone numbers. I don't want to be harassed. I don't want to be annoyed. Exactly. Guys, you want to buy a property, we want to sell one. And this just makes it a lot easier for you. So if you don't want to get hassled, you don't want that email continued on the subscription list and still continuing to get emails after the fact, that could be a great solution for you. And get in touch with a real estate early on your journey. We've definitely got some really preferable partners in terms of operators we've seen do really well, solicitors, etc. We're happy to point you in the right direction with some really good operators there, and that's probably the best way to start off your journey. And then we can help you along the way finding that perfect property.
Very much. There's so many agents out there, guys. You just have to like one. All right. And just come along. We normally, today is almost 8 p.m. We're always here. Just come along. We deal with so many different kind of buyers who are in different stages of their life, and you'll definitely match with one of them, and we can help you say, hey, I helped this couple, and this is how they did it. So we can kind of walk you through the process, because buying a house is a big thing. Like, it's nervous, exciting, everything at the same time, and you're juggling life and purchasing the biggest asset of your life at the same time. And there's someone there that will grab your hand and go through every step. I think that's a big bonus. Like us, we'll help that with every buyer. Would love to help someone secure their dream home. That's literally our job. All right. So make friends with the real estate agent, which goes a long way.
Yeah, definitely, guys. That's hopefully we've left you a few little pockets of gold in there. I'd probably have to say organization. I like the email, a good solicitor, and prepping yourself. Don't just make the offer. Put yourself in a position to go unconditional. That can be the difference from you securing or missing out on your dream home.
Very true.
Guys, as always, feel free to reach out to Dan or myself if you ever have any questions. You're looking for something pre-market, want to move to the beaches, whatever it may be. We're always here to help. Thank you very much for your time tonight.
Add something. I just remember.
Please do.
I saw it this morning, right? So because on the weekend, many people are asking, like, especially investors, all the thing going on in the world. With the war there, which is a big thing right now. Fuel prices are going up. Soon inflation will go up as well. And then a short interview came with a very big investor. It means this is the best time to buy, because real estate is something that will never go out of value. It'll always go up. You have 13 interest rate rises, price still went up. So if the fuel is $3 a liter, that means the value of your money is getting lower. So this is the best time to put your money into an asset like a real estate, and that'll go up.
Yeah, perfect.
So, like, rather than keep saving it in your bank, that it's just losing value, because the petrol price is going up means your money is losing value. So technically, that's what inflation is. So basically, what I'm suggesting is buy your property that you think about.
No, he's very right, guys. In this sort of environment, you're going to have people umming and ahhing about things like Iran, or things like inflation, et cetera, et cetera. All that means is you have less competition in the market. Look at history. Look at how many things we've gone through. Look at COVID. Look at prices at where they are now, and look at what it's done over the last 100 years. You cannot take a little point out of history and make a decision. Analysts use a variety of data over a long period of time to make their predictions. And you're exactly right in saying that 13 rises and look where we are. DY just did 13% in the last 12 months. So use this opportunity, buyers out there, because there's going to be more on market, less competition, which means you're buying well, and that is how you make money in real estate, buying well. So that's definitely a good way to finish the stream tonight, guys. We hope you have a lovely night, and everyone's happy and well. Bye from the Novak team, Josh and Badan. See you guys. Bye.